Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the short delay. We were doing some court business. I apologize. I know that I'm told that Mr. Sherman, your matter is ready for discussion. Is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor. I spoke with the prosecutor. I know he has other attorneys to speak to right now, but he indicated if Your Honor wanted to take this case first, that I guess someone could pull him out of whatever room he's in.
Yeah, I think I would like to take it first. Why don't we do that? Caitlin, would you send an email to the prosecutor, ask him to come in?
Will do.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Mr. Sherman, put your appearance on the record.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Joseph Sermon, Freehold, New Jersey, on behalf of Suzanne Sicora-Ludwig, who's also appearing virtually in this matter.
Okay, thank you. This is summons 530256, etc. This is a transfer case from the city of New Brunswick for an incident of March the 8th of 2024. Mr. Janskovich, good afternoon. How are you today?
Very good, Your Honor.
Good.
Thank you.
Very good. So, Mr. Sherman, I read your submission, although it came in late yesterday. I did read it last night. And I guess you want to go forward and you want to make a motion of some kind?
Yes, Your Honor, and I apologize it was sent in late, but I think part of it was a product of the fact that the Hollop order would have expired on Monday and we're appearing on Wednesday. So it was kind of a tight time frame for me to get a letter over until I knew that the deadline had passed. So I apologize, but I hope Your Honor understands those circumstances. At this point, I would be making a motion to exclude or suppress the blood draw evidence in this case. I outlined the different materials that were contained in the Hollop order. While I did receive mostly incident reports and I did receive some materials relating to chain of custody, the majority of the materials that I was asking for have not been provided, including most significantly the state lab litigation packet. And I didn't want to presume that Your Honor was either familiar or unfamiliar with what's contained in that packet. So I did send an example, which I redacted from another case, just to kind of demonstrate to Your Honor the types of things that are contained in that litigation packet. And without going over it painstakingly, I just wanted to basically show Your Honor that this is what I need in order to send these records to an expert in order to determine if this blood test was accurate or if there were issues with the collection, the testing. As I sit here now, this case is 8 months old, and I still don't have materials that I can send to an expert for that analysis. And I think, I've certainly requested it enough times. I know Mr. Janskovich has called me, several times to update me on status on this. So I don't think it's any fault of his that it hasn't been provided, but nonetheless, we're 8 months into this case and I don't have the proper materials that I need to defend this case. So I would ask that Your Honor, and I can certainly supply an order if Your Honor was going to grant it. I would ask that Your Honor suppress the blood draw results in this case.
Thank you. Mr. Janskovich.
Mr. Robert Janskovich on behalf of the state, Your Honor. I have had extensive conversations with Mr. Sermon. I have been trying to get him what he's been requesting. We did get him the reports a couple days ago. The blood warrant search warrant recording has not been forthcoming yet. However, I was in communication with the New Brunswick prosecutor's office and the county prosecutor's office, and that request is in the pipeline through CourtSmart. I expect to get it shortly. With regard to the lab litigation packet, I kind of stopped waiting on New Brunswick and reached out myself on Monday. I sent over communication to them requesting it. I haven't heard back from them. I don't know if they were open on election day or not. So I haven't had any follow-up on that yet, but I'm going to try to get that myself. And generally speaking, I hope to get that within, the lab, Judge. I hope to get it as soon as I can, but I am actively trying to do it, Judge.
Thank you. Anything further, Mr. Sherman?
No, Your Honor, I think, like I said, I would rely on the letter that I submitted along with the exhibits. Again, showing I've made, I think, what I believe to be more than adequate attempts to obtain this. And, again, I can certainly appreciate the position that Mr. Janskovich is in. But, nonetheless, we're, significantly, a significant amount of time into this case. And, I don't even have materials to send to an expert at this point. So I would ask that Your Honor grant the HOLLOP order, and Your Honor gave 45 days on the HOLLOP order, which I think was more than adequate time to obtain these materials.
Thank you. This is a little bit of an unusual situation because this is not a case that originated in Highland Park, but originated in New Brunswick. The presiding judge transferred that case out of New Brunswick for obvious reasons and sent it to me. Frankly, Mr. Sherman, although I read all 60 pages that you forwarded to us, and I read them last night, I really didn't need copies of what you got from another case. After 34, 35 years of doing this job, I think I've seen enough of those kind of documents. As a matter of fact, for a good portion of the time when I was the presiding judge in Middlesex County, I did all the blood draw requests in these matters. So I'm very familiar with what they look like.
And Judge, I apologize. I didn't mean any
You don't have to
disrespect by doing
apologize. I just want to tell you that I did do that you were courteous enough to send it to me. I have to be courteous enough to read it. So I did do that. The HOLLOP order that I signed was September the 19th of 2024. And I indicated that the documents that you requested should be produced if they exist. I don't know whether they exist or they don't. Maybe as time goes by, less of these documents will exist. That's probably good for you. I don't know that for a fact, but at any rate, what happens in a transfer case like this is that the prosecutor, Mr. Janskovich in our case, has to reach out to New Brunswick, reach out to the prosecutor's office in New Brunswick, reach out to the state police lab. There are a lot of moving parts to this, as you well know, Mr. Sherman. It's not a simple matter of going to a police department, copying the notes from the police department and forwarding them on to defense counsel. First, he has to go through the channel. He has to make the request through the prosecutor of the New Brunswick Municipal Court. And then he has to rely on that prosecutor getting the information as best they can from either the person who did the blood draw or from the county, if that's where the blood draw was done, and the documents that you're requesting, although I'm certain that most, if not all of them, are discoverable, are not easy to obtain. And I am satisfied based on what Mr. Janskovich told me just now on the record. I mean, I haven't talked to him about this case privately, but what he just said on the record, that he's made all these taken all these steps in order to get the document. This HOLLOP order just barely is 45 days old. We're 2 or 3 days after the signature on the HOLLOP order, and the municipal court has the authority to relax the rules and relax the requests when appropriate in order to seek justice for all the parties, including the defendant. So it's my opinion that at this time, I'm going to relax those rules and I'm going to give the prosecutor some more time in order to try to obtain the documents. If Mr. Janskovich could wave his magic wand, I'm sure he would get you the documents today. But it's not up to him. He has to wait for the state police lab. He has to wait for New Brunswick. He has to wait for the prosecutor's office, and then try to sort it out and see what's discoverable and what's not. So at this time, I'm going to exercise my right to relax the order that I signed. I'm going to give him another 45 days in order to get all that information together. And then at the end of the 45 days, if he still doesn't have it, and if I find there's no just cause for not having it, not because he didn't try, but because others didn't cooperate, then I'll hear whatever you want me to hear at that time. So at this time, I'll make a note, relax time for production. I'm not making any decision today as to what should be produced. I can't do that without seeing it any more than you can, Mr. Sherman. Know what it is that they can and can't produce. So for another 45 days. And we'll see where we are at that time, okay? I thank
All
you.
right.
I do appreciate all the work you've done, putting all this together. But I assure you that I've seen enough of these cases to know exactly what you're talking about. Tax rule for another 45 days. Mr. Jankowicz, keep the pressure on wherever you have to in order to get the documentation that you need to give to Mr. Sherman. And we'll see what happens in 45 days. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you,
Thank
Your
you
Honor.
very much. Mr. Sherman, as you know, if you don't agree with my decision, you got 45 days to file an appeal. Appeals are not heard here, they're heard in the Superior Court in New Brunswick. Thank you very much. Have a good day. I know that you were in another court. I saw from your letter, you had to ask the judge in the other court to give you authorization to join this meeting. That's why I wanted to take you first to make sure that I could, get you back to doing other things, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a
Okay,
wonderful
thank
day.
you. Yeah, you too. Thank you.